aunt about her experience with integration in schools. And this isn't your first time talking with her about it, correct? Because based off of what I heard in the conversation, these are talks that you all have during family gatherings. I think you said the famous cigar box story.
Yeah.
So hearing it in this way, as a story that we are putting in our newscast, part of our Black History Month coverage, what does that mean to you?
Well, it's interesting because it's always something that I kind of wanted to put out there, because I know there's many Black American stories that just don't get told. And, I would have never known that my great-grandmother was one of the first African-American women to be on the school board in Choctaw County without, having that conversation with my aunts and, just really asking them those questions. So it's very interesting and very bittersweet, honestly, trying to talk to them and get this to be an actual story now.
Yes, and you talk about stories that do go untold. Why is it important that we continue to tell these stories?
So I think it's important because, again, I would have never known any of this information had I not talked to my family. And, a lot of Black Americans, they kind of keep their stories under the rug or kind of just keep them in the past. But I think it's important to bring them forward because it's part of history, but also part of what's going to make the future something that's, a lot better for everyone. Just knowing that these stories are not necessarily things that happened in the past when, TV screens were just in all black and white. And, even most of the pictures that we see with Martin Luther King, like it's in black and white, but he was there when there was color TV and color pictures and things like that. So I think it's important that we know that these type of things happen more recently than we think that they have.
They have happened more recently. And oftentimes history tends to repeat itself, like your aunt mentioned. How even now there's a sense of, maybe in a different way, but desegregation starting to trickle back into school systems. And I suppose in order to know what's going on in the present and what's expected in the future, you have to revisit the past.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to share, Kai, about this experience with your aunt and what she had to endure, I'll even say, versus what your education experience was like growing up?
Yeah, so with my education, I always knew that I was going to go to a HBCU just because, like she said, all 12 of my grandmother's siblings and herself went to a HBCU because, that's the only place that they were accepted and truly respected and appreciated. And so knowing that information, I knew I was going to go to a HBCU to get that same experience of just being accepted and appreciated in any space that I walk in, and having that mindset of, even if I'm not in a space where it's HBCU experience, like all black experience, I'm going to still be able to get the respect and appreciation that I deserve. So that really helped me, especially them going to HBCU. It helped me make my decision in going to a HBCU and, help me go throughout my college experience also.